So a lot of questions now about whether or not he might be exiting. There are some reports in the New York Post that he may already be leaving his office at the FBI office as well. So New York Post reporting that, yes, there is these reports that he is going to exit. And with President Trump, of course, speaking about it, perhaps this is more imminent than many had believed. Also, there is source reporting that the co-deputy director who's been in place for a while, Andrew Bailey, who was put on in September, may take on the traditional deputy role there. Andrew Bailey, he was the Attorney General in the state of Missouri. I want to bring in my panel now to react to this breaking story and also the other big stories of the day. Pleased to have host of Mary Walter Radio, Mary Walter, with us, and also John Thomas. He's a Republican strategist, managing director at Nestpoint. All right, very early in this Bonino story, I'm not sure I'd be surprised, though, if this is all accurate, according to sources. And Mary, we know he was very successful at his job. Some of his earlier interviews on national television had suggested this was somewhat a strain on his family. Beloved guy, though. Your reaction to this news and President Trump talking about what a great job he did, if indeed he does leave? All right, John, I'll give it to you as we fix Mary's signal there. But
sure.
Obviously, Dan Bonino, right under Cash Patel, there is Andrew Bailey being named as potentially and rumored as a replacement.
Yes.
But this is major news, a shakeup at the FBI.
It sure is. And you're right. Dan Bongino is beloved by so many Americans. He had a huge platform when he was a podcaster, and so many Republicans were excited to see him kind of go in with Cash Patel and revamp how our FBI and Department of Justice operates because the way we saw it so politicized and weaponized against conservatives and President Trump. So it was great that he spent some time in there. But I also understand not just the strain on Dan's family, who I believe primarily resides in Florida, but also, look, it's tough when you're not the number one, because there only are certain things that you are allowed to say. And we know Dan has a lot of opinions. And so I suspect over time, Dan wants his voice to be unshackled again, because he probably wants to weigh in a lot of things, not just things dealing with that specific department that he's in, but more broadly in the government and on the culture wars. So I'm not surprised that he's likely done a tour of duty again back in the government. We're grateful for his service. And hopefully, if it is true and he is leaving, he'll get right back to podcasting so we can hear not just war stories, but also his get back in the fight of public opinion.
Yeah, great points, John. I think, too, we underestimate the sacrifices everybody who does enter into the government make, whether it be in law enforcement, whether it be people who leave their families and go work on the Hill. And, of course, this isn't for everybody. There are, of course, people in Washington who probably need to be leaving and exiting because they've stayed too long. But it is, not a high-paid position. They usually take, cuts in their, daytime jobs, corporate jobs to go into that. So, again, you're right that there's reports now he may be returning to Florida to resume his job. So there's a lot of speculation. Of course, Andrew Bailey, great bench for the Republicans, as they have for their candidates, obviously would be a perfect fit. He's already been there since September, so it wouldn't be too difficult. Though I'm sure the way the left-leaning media has tried to smear Cash Patel day in and day out, they'll jump on this. They'll seize on this. When yet we have a foiled plot in Los Angeles, that terror group.
Right.
I mean, they're out there doing great work. It's amazing how that is really just swept to the side there when it was okay. And you mentioned the former FBI, the disgrace that we saw from Wray, and also obviously James Comey, which the left never cared about when they were running the FBI.
Yeah, the mainstream media is going to try to portray any exit from the administration as not normal course of business, and perhaps people wanting to return to the private sector, but as some kind of disarray from within the Trump admin, because Trump derangement syndrome is so alive and well within the media. But, this is also what distinguishes conservatives from liberals. Conservatives want to go in, serve their time in government, make a difference, and then go back to historically their family farm or back to their business or their family. They don't see idealizing being a lifelong bureaucrat as the end-all, be-all. They want to serve, make a difference, and come back. And that's what I think we might be seeing here with Dan Bonino, and I'm so grateful that he took both a massive pay cut, I'm sure a family life strain to go serve our country. We're grateful for that service and can't wait to get him back out there again and hopefully podcasting.
Yeah, and again, this is all just coming in from source reporting. No a formal announcement, but Bonino 51, we should share with our viewers, the reports are that he told his colleagues already at the Bureau that he would not be there for the rest of the month and then would officially announce his stepping down the new year. Was going to reportedly announce it on December 19th. That's 2 days from now. Maybe that's why we're here, President Trump. But again, a vote of confidence from President Trump and a big address to the nation tonight. We'll see how this story develops. John, always great to have you with us. Thanks for sticking around. I know we had a lot of breaking news. John Thomas, everybody. I'll see you back here real soon.